Halsey Schider and Mike Reyno, live from Dallas, day one of helicopter fly-ins. Now, I've actually never been to the fly-ins here at Dallas. My first impression, it's certainly a little bit more confined than, say, Atlanta, Anaheim.
Anaheim was great.
Anaheim was great. It was beautiful. A little bit overcast, but it's going to clear up. But this is a challenging spot, so I'm actually pretty excited. I'm a helicopter dork, of course, so watching the helicopters come in is going to be so fun, and to see how the pilots navigate this more confined area in a very congested downtown. Mike, what are some of the other exciting things that we're kind of anticipating for this year's very first VAI?
The very first Verticon. I think there's probably three things that we're going to be talking about here. One is going to be Robinson. I mean, we're seeing a new company with Robinson. With Dave Smith at the helm here, we're seeing some new innovation that's coming, that we're going to see something that's pretty big that's being unveiled. I mean, that's the key here. It's going to be big. And then Airbus. I mean, that was a surprise as well to see that Airbus is going to be unveiling something here. But another topic that might be on people's minds is going to be tariffs. You know, what's the impact on tariffs
talk about it.
going to be in the helicopter industry? As we know, parts are going back and forth across borders. There's a lot of maintenance going back and forth across borders. We have Bell Helicopter. They manufacture all their commercial helicopters. They're manufactured in Mirabel in Quebec. So that's going to be on top of people's minds as well. Is that how is that going to impact this helicopter industry? And right now, it's too soon to say what's going to happen. But I think that's what people are going to be talking about at the show.
Yeah, lots going on this year. We're so excited. In fact, I'm going to be podcasting with David Smith from Robinson after, of course, the big reveal. So we're so excited for that. Airbus is bringing a new product. And like Mike said, tariffs, right? The economic landscape of our industry could potentially be changing. And we're just really excited to capture what that kind of feels like in the moment here at the very first VAI. I couldn't be more excited doing it with this guy here.
It's going to be an exciting show.
Awesome. All right, we got Paulie in the H160. Actually, fun fact, Mike. I was one of her flight instructors back in Hillsboro back in the day, and now she's coming in. Awesome. Day one of flying of the H160. Let's check it out. A little bit of a crabbed approach. And of course, obstacles on the far end. And so coming in steep and then kind of working the helicopter down. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Everyone's watching. She better nail this landing.
There is a lot of pressure. So she absolutely nailed it. Great set down. Mike, could you think of a better way to kick off day one of helicopter fly-ins?
Yeah, you know, kicking off with the H160, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the sexiest helicopters that's ever been produced.
And I gotta say, it's so quiet actually. I mean, look, it's a little bit noisy right now, yeah, but not so loud. Composite frame, certified in 2020. H160 is an absolutely gorgeous helicopter.
You know, it's amazing to see how it's entering into these new markets. Obviously, we see this is in the PHI colors for offshore flying. We're going to soon see it in the air medical sector. We're seeing it in the military sectors. Corporate, obviously, that was a big market for it. So we're starting to see some major successes for the H160.
Yeah, absolutely. Multi-use aircraft that can do so many different missions. And it's so cool to see. And a big shout out to Airbus actually for helping make our videos here possible.
Yeah, Airbus has been great on sponsoring us. It's fantastic, so it works out well. They're the first ones in. So it's amazing as you look behind me, after the helicopter lands, watch the swarm of people that are going to come in. They're going to get this aircraft hooked up so they can do the ground movement and get it over to the convention center behind us.
So the H-160 just came in. There's lots going on. There's a crane coming. And so I had to steal Paulie. Actually, Paulie and I met back in flight school. I think I did your 10-hour check.
You did. If I remember correctly, yes, you did. It was a great flight.
It was a great flight, and now look at you flying the H-160. Paulie, what is it like flying this aircraft?
So we just kicked off Verticon, right? This is the first helicopter in today. It's the 160. It's amazing. There's a lot of automation in there. The helionic system helping the pilot to fly super fast, it's smooth. It's just an amazing helicopter.
It's unbelievable. It looks so good. You make it look easy. And what exactly is your role at Airbus now?
I am an instructor pilot for Airbus. I've been with Airbus for 3 years now, mainly on the 160 now for 2 years, but also hybridly, we fly as a demo pilots too.
Absolutely awesome. So excited. One of my favorite things about the industry is the people, and Paulie is certainly one of them. And getting to see you and doing this now, it's so cool. Congratulations, and absolutely great set down, by the way.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
See you, Paulie.
See ya.
Starting off with the heavy iron. Aircraft number 2 coming in. It looks like a 429. Not sure the operator. The Bell 429, obviously, what I've always called the big brother of the 407. So it's the twin engine variant used for a whole bunch of different missions, air medical, corporate VIP, of course. Absolutely gorgeous helicopter.
It's a gorgeous aircraft. But watch the route that they fly in here. It's very purposeful. You know, they have to stick to that route.
Mike, I don't know about you, but it never gets old watching helicopters land.
No. It's that sound.
Okay, so this is a Quick Trip. So this is a corporate aircraft. Quick Trip is a convenience store. So this must be their corporate helicopter. That's pretty cool. So Bell has officially made their presence day 1 here. One of the things that you talked about earlier was this idea of tariffs. And I know that Bell produces a lot of helicopters, including the 429 in Canada. Any thoughts about kind of what that looks like?
Well, I think it's too early to say yet what the tariffs, what sort of impact they're going to have on Bell. You know, there's lots of speculation that's happening right now. I'm not one that's going to speculate on that. But, you know, Bell is up in Canada for a reason. So we'll see what happens. But right now, when you see what the aircraft they're producing, the 429, I mean, it's an awesome aircraft.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. Sounds like Bell is bringing in their second arrival of the day, which is the 505. Now, word on the street is Bell is bringing a smorgasbord of helicopters to the show this year. Mike, what can you tell us about that?
So it started off with the 429, now we got the 505, and then we got the 412 EPX coming.
Very excited for that.
And you know, I gotta say, the 412 EPX has actually been selling well for Bell. And you look at, especially in the California area, public use, right now the flavor of the day is 412 EPX. So they've been doing quite well with that aircraft. And then what we're also gonna see is we're gonna see the 525. Now, unfortunately, it's not flying into the show, but it is going to be here. They're bringing it on a truck, but it will be here on the show floor for everyone to see.
Yeah, so we get the 429, 505, which will be in here shortly, the EPX, which Mike was just talking about. So, of course, Bell is always bringing it big, especially here in Dallas, kind of like a home show for them.
Yeah, this is their home turf, right? So this is where Bell's going to be loud and they're going to be proud here to have their helicopters. So, yeah, it's going to be great to see what they've got on display here at the show. I'm excited to actually see the 525 because it is coming here in the colors of their launch customer. So we can't say who it is. It's going to be under wraps here at the show as well. So we're going to see that unveiled here on the show floor.
My gosh, Mike Reyno doing all the teases today.
Lots of teasing going on, but we just can't tell you the whole story yet.
Okay. Hey guys, here with Jared Wolf. He just came in on the 505 here. Jared, I gotta say, I've never seen a dual purpose 505, police and fire. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So it's the first helicopter for the city of Peoria. We support both police and fire. The 505 is primarily used for patrol function, but we do have capabilities, do long line, short haul, search and rescue capabilities that we do with fire. for like mountain rescues and stuff like that. So that's how we got into the Bell 505 and why we chose the airframe. So it's a full hoist, or it doesn't have a hoist, but it does have a cargo hook system that we can do long line or belly lines off of, as well as all the mission equipment for police functions.
That's absolutely awesome. Right, all these things cost money, it gets expensive, and to be able to have an aircraft that can do multiple things within a city government is just crucial. Not only great for law enforcement and safety, but also fires. So cool. I see that you're the chief pilot of the program.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been the chief pilot? And
so we just started this program from start to conception in about 2023. We got our first aircraft, which is the Bell 505 behind us, in August of last year. And right now we have 4 TFOs that are going through tactical flight officer training. We've trained 6 firefighters or helicopter rescue technicians and crew chiefs. And then we have 2 other guys that are in pilot training right now.
That's so cool. Well, it's awesome to see that the program is coming up to launch here. 480B is coming in behind us here. Very similar approach angle to the 160. The 429 and the 505 were actually coming a little bit more straight in, but now we have the 480. I was just actually talking to Doug. Sounds like this is a brand new aircraft right off the manufacturer. So it's pretty cool that they're making the aircraft still.
You know what's awesome is to see under new ownership, Enstrom seems to be having some great successes. So it's great to see Enstrom's back now.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, it's not the biggest OEM, but it's a super cool helicopter and it's a legacy brand. It's been around for so long. Doug, who I was just talking to, has been there for 35 years. I think that's a testament to just how cool of a company it is. And I feel like as an industry, we all have a little bit of a role and responsibility to hopefully continue to support Enstrom and help them be successful.
Yeah. And you know what? It's almost like they have a following. You have a following of those that are Enstrom. That's what they're loyal to that brand. Look at that paint scheme. Actually, it's probably one of the sexiest paint schemes I've seen on an Enstrom.
It is actually, looks very cool, and I'm curious to see. I know that Enstrom had recently been working on automating their cockpit, putting glass in. I think even at European Rotors, they were talking about a autopilot. So I am curious to see this aircraft up close, to see the interior, avionics, things like that.
Yeah. You know what? It's great to see that they're continuing to modernize where they can on the Enstrom product.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it. All right, Mike, looks like we got, I think it's a A-Star coming in.
It's a H125.
H125. The sun has changed a little bit, so now filming is a little bit better from this way, but now we have some trees in the way. So it's kind of surprising, but let's see what we see here.
Actually, where we're at, this is where you can have a contest as far as name that helicopter before you see it.
That's a good game.
By the sound.
I think we're going to do that. Okay, yeah, look, it's Texas DPS helicopter.
I know Texas DPS has been a long-time user of the Airbus H125 or earlier on with the AS350B2.
So I hear a helicopter, but I don't see a helicopter. What's your guess based on the noise?
Well, I know it's Airbus. It has a distinctive noise.
It has the Airbus noise.
I'd say it has a distinctive noise that's coming in. Now we're getting a little of the vibration off the buildings here.
I'm not looking, but I just heard a telltale.
Yeah, you heard that whine.
Yep, what is it?
It's a 130.
It's a 130 for sure.
It's an H130.
One of my favorite helicopters, actually. I flew the 130 from Maverick down in Las Vegas doing Grand Canyon tours. And recently, I stopped by your house in a 130.
You came right in the backyard.
We landed right in the backyard of Mike's house. We were ferrying a helicopter from Toronto down to Reno. And of course, we had to stop and say hi to Mike on the way. Okay, this is actually coming from Tennessee. This is the Lifestar program for air medical. Very cool.
Yeah. And actually, this is where the 130 has proven to be a very capable aircraft in that air medical sector.
Yeah. Do you know how to tell the difference between the B4 and the T2 at a quick glance?
Well, this is where you're going to have me on this one. I don't.
Okay, so it's super easy identification. So the intake there in the front, very vertical and square on the T2. On the B4, it's swept back. So this year at the show, if they have a B4, take a look and you'll see that it's not so elevated. It's more of a swept back intake there.
Halsey, you just taught me something. That's the first time I think I can say that.
I didn't think I could ever teach Mike Reyno anything. He's been in this business a very long time. Now, something that you mentioned is The 130 has become a bit of a staple for air medical operations.
It has.
I was actually talking to the crew recently of air medical, and they're in the 130, and what they love about it is the space.
Yeah. You know, it's the space. You won't find a cabin space larger than that for single engine type. It's fantastic.
All right, so we got Leonardo making its first appearance with a 109 power. Mike, I mean, I love looking at the aircraft. I've never actually flown the machine, but what can you tell us a little bit more about the 109?
Well, when you think of it, it's Italian. When you think Italian, what are some of the things you think of? That's the Ferrari of the helicopter industry.
100%.
It really is. It's the sports car. So it's fast. It's sleek. It's an incredible machine. So, and it says Leonardo. I mean, it's that distinctive shape that it has to it. That's what
Yeah,
they're known
made for speed. I love the wheeled gear as well. One bummer about Dallas is usually the wheeled helicopters are able to land and then ground taxi, like in Atlanta and I think even in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Here they're just coming straight to it, so we don't get to see any actual ground movement under their own power. But hey, what can you do?
Yeah.
So we cheated. We were playing the game, named the helicopter by the sound, but then someone already said it was a 109C, so we know it's a 109C. Are we sure?
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell by the gear. It's a 109C.
Okay, so now this is interesting, Mike. He's coming in a lot steeper than the helicopter before, and it's always interesting to see how different pilots kind of navigate the situation. Not that one way is right and the other is wrong, it's just different.
Different. It's all different in how you approach.
Exactly. All right, so the 109C behind us just landed. Back-to-back Leonardo aircraft. We just had the power. Now we have the predecessor, the 109C. It looks like this particular machine is corporate, but what are some of the other uses that you've seen used for the 109?
So when you think about it, when the 109 was originally developed, it was thinking that private, that corporate market was really dominant player. But then they started to find missions as the 109 evolved. We found it into air medical. That became an important mission for the aircraft. And then also, you know, we see it on the west coast of the U.S. where it's being always used for hoist operations for pilot boats. You know, so there's some missions that the 109 is doing that really they weren't envisioned in the initial development of the 109.
Yeah, super amazing machine. They look awesome. They're fast. They're sleek. And like Mike said earlier, Italian made, so they truly are the Ferrari.
Oh, they're the Ferrari of the skies, there's no doubt. And you can see that look of the 109. That look is similar to when you get into the 139, the 169, the 189. It still does have some of that lineage back to the 109.
And I have to say, I am super excited. I know we have at least one or two 139s. Are they coming in today or is it tomorrow?
I believe the 139s are coming in tomorrow.
We got a 139 coming in tomorrow, so much more to come. I think we're like 6-7 helicopters in, so we have at least 25 more to go. All right, heavy metal coming back. We got the first 139 of the show. Mike, I have to be honest, I think the 139 is quite possibly one of my favorite helicopters.
Yeah.
The 139 behind us just landed. It was pushing some serious air and very noisy, but extremely good looking helicopter. And Mike, you and I were actually just talking. It sounds like about 23 years ago, you shot the very first AB 139?
That's right.
What is that all about?
It was the first AB 139 when Bell and Augusta had a partnership with each other. It had come into the show and it was giving demonstrations. So we went up for a flight out of Anaheim. So it was fantastic. So to see how the AW139, how it has progressed into the multitude of missions that it can do. Again, it's missions that weren't envisioned when they were developing the 139. Obviously, offshore was a big thing. Air medical was a big thing for the AW139.
Certainly.
Search and rescue. And if you look at the latest issue of Vertical, we have a story on the NNSA, the National Nuclear Security Administration. We flew with them out of Nellis Air Force Base in Vegas, and they're up that they have a mission of sniffing out radiation at major events. So you look at the multitude of missions that a 139 is involved in. So I think VAI, they say that there's about 44 different types of missions that a helicopter can be involved in. And I bet you this helicopter here is involved in about 2/3 of those missions.
That's incredible. This guy's like a helicopter encyclopedia with that type of knowledge. You just hit us hard there. What's that, by the way? I thought I was smelling some radiation on you. That was just so hot. Hey, the 139 is awesome. And I can't believe that's such a funny thing, the Augusta Bell thing. It always kind of throws me off because every once in a while I'll come across a 206, which is the Augusta Bell 206. So kind of a neat collaboration back in the day.
AB 412, same thing. So AB, you had on the Bell 47. So there's a number of years that Bell and Augusta have had this relationship. The 609 is another example. That was a collaboration between Bell and Augusta on the AW 609.
Man, it's crazy. Awesome. All right, Mike, what are we hearing right now?
It's definitely Bell related.
Bell related.
It's got that distinctive sound, right?
A couple of the hops. Hop, 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 hop. I'm going to go to Long Ranger.
A long range, yeah. I'm going to go.
I got to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a Long Ranger in my 4 years at Heli Expo. An older aircraft, but I love seeing it here. Love it.
So what's amazing about the Long Ranger is look at the lineage, right? It goes back to Jet Ranger, then we get into the Long Ranger, then we get into the 407. But it all started with the 206, now we have a 206L.
I don't know, maybe you agree or disagree, but I'm not sure that there's an aircraft model, if you include the 206 and the 407 in the conversation, that has a better legacy than the 206 and then into the 407.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's, what are we at now? 55 years plus, I think, since the first Jet Ranger
Which
flew.
is insane.
Which is insane. So now look at how that has gone into the various models. And even when you get into the Long Ranger, how many models of the Long Ranger are there?
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, right, we got the 1, the 3, and the 4. They skipped the 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no L2.
I don't know what happened to the
but
2.
we have an L1, L3, and an L4, and you can actually upgrade. So when I was flying air medical, there was actually a time where I was flying in the Long Ranger. So it's such an incredible machine because it can be used for so many different things. I love how it flies. From a pilot perspective, it's tried and true. It's easy, it's stable. The hardest thing about the Long Ranger is starting it. It's a modulated start, so you're holding the button, you're cracking that throttle, and then you're actually monitoring your TOT. I love the Long Ranger.
Yeah, a pure helicopter. For the purists in the helicopter industry, Jet Ranger, Long Ranger, into the 407.
100%. I love seeing it here. All right, Mike, we've been waiting for it all day. We got the first UH-60. What is that? For me, standing here, feeling the air, hearing it, and it's a powerhouse.
It's amazing. Again, you look at this is a Lima model UH-60, and again, here's another example of taking an aircraft and doing what the commercial market is, or the civil market, I should say, to this aircraft and what they can do. I mean, it looks like this thing just came off the assembly line. It looks beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vertical recently had a story on the UH-60. What was that all about?
Well, there's two sides. So right now, UH-60 is obviously a restricted category aircraft. Right now in Canada, we have a number of Hawks that are operating. And it's a very controversial and hot topic right now because those operators that are flying standard category aircraft say that it provides an advantage, an unfair advantage by operating Blackhawks in Canada. And you probably see that in other areas too. In the United States, they're operating in Australia, they're operating in South Africa. But there is no question, the UH-60 Blackhawk is an incredible aircraft. It's one of the world's safest flying aircraft. The problem is it's restricted category going into a lot of these markets.
Yeah, really interesting. It's really a hot topic. I get both sides of the coin, I really do. But with an aircraft that's so capable, it's like we need it out there. We need it fighting fire. We need it doing utility work. I mean, I think that the Blackhawk is a big reason our economies are running.
And that's what you look at. So, Sikorsky never envisioned when they developed the Blackhawk that this would be out fighting fires, that it would be doing aerial construction, repetitive lifts. You got an aircraft that can lift 9,000 pounds.
It's insane. Yeah, the Blackhawk is amazing. And like Mike said, this thing looks like it just rolled off the assembly line. Paint job is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, this is one of the nicest ones I've seen.
Gorgeous. All right, looks like we have a 119 coming in. Yep, it is the AW119. In fact, my buddy Scott Cannon is flying this helicopter, and they're with RSG. RSG has a bit of a home show as they're based at Beecham Field. They do a whole bunch of stuff. They're doing service, completion. I believe they're actually an Airbus service center now. And honestly, just a great company to work with. This expo is a little bit sad. It marks 1 year since the passing of RSG's former president, Mike Gallegos. Mike was a dear friend of mine and a guy that I absolutely loved working with. But his team at RSG has done a fantastic job carrying on the legacy. So excited to see that they're showcasing this 119. I believe it's currently for sale. So if you're in the market, make an offer. All right, running into a good buddy of mine, Scott Cannon, coming in from RSG. Home show for RSG. Yes. Not a very long flight from, am I saying it right, Meacham?
Meacham, yeah, it's like 10 minutes.
10-minute flight,
yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
You're in the 119. Now, Scott, I know that you guys have a couple of these. Is this currently an aircraft that's for sale?
It is. This is a 2019 with only 350 hours on it.
Ooh, 350 hours. Asking price? $3,350. Hey, look, if you're in the market, Scott actually was telling me last year on why he prefers this aircraft over the 407. What are some of the key points that validate that argument?
It's the highest performance single engine turbine helicopter in production today. It's got one more seat than the 407. 407 is a great machine, but this has one more seat. It's got 8 seats. It's faster. It lifts more, bigger baggage. Looks cool sitting still. Looks cool in the air. What else do you need to know?
It really does look good. So good to see Scott. RSG is a company that I love working with. So cool that Scott is there. Their whole team at RSG is awesome, from Keith to Noel to Scott. Just lucky to have these guys as friends. Scott, thanks for saying hi.
A pleasure. And I'll mention we have several more as well.
Several more for sale.
Several more.
Come find this man at the show and buy some helicopters, guys. I hear something big. Mike Reyno is saying it's the 214. I've never actually seen a 214 in person. Is it random to be at the show?
Yeah, you know what? So it's a 214 ST specifically, so a twin engine 214. So I believe this is the first time we've seen a 214 ST at this show in probably a couple of decades. So it's pretty awesome, and you can hear it coming from a very, very long way away.
Yeah, it's so funny. I thought it was way closer, actually. And now it's actually getting close.
Oh, yeah.
Super excited to see this. Looks
so
like
the 214 is actually, it's coming in from McDermott Aviation. So you can actually buy a 214 ST. So they're actually starting to market the 214 ST. It's a phenomenal aircraft for the especially for the firefighting role. And as you see it come in, it's a beast.
I cannot wait to see. One of the things that you were telling me last night at dinner was the blade width.
The blade width. So the blade width on a 214 ST is approximately the same width as a Cessna 172. Now, We just got to pause. We got to listen to this sound.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy this. Check it out. I don't think that there is a better sound than that two-blade system slapping like that. I absolutely love that. Mike, tell me a little bit more about McDermott.
So McDermott, based out of Australia, they really specialize in the 214 ST. When it comes to anyone in the world, they are the expert. Now, when you look at this aircraft and you look at the modifications that McDermott has made to it, they've really made it a powerhouse, especially in the aerial firefighting that they're doing. Down in the southern hemisphere, over in Greece. They have several contacts over in Greece, and then obviously with firefighting here in the United States. But you look at this aircraft behind us, obviously has the familiar lines of a UH-1 Huey.
Yeah.
And really it is. It's like a fat Huey.
I mean, it's incredible to me. I don't know if you know the answer, but like, when was this aircraft certified? Like, how long has it been in certification production?
So we're going back, the ST, and this is where I'm going to plead ignorance, but back in the early 70s was when the ST, and initially, it was made for the offshore sector. That's where they really saw a requirement for this aircraft.
I mean, that's so incredible. We're talking 30 plus years of working aircraft. It's just insane to me. It's so cool. I love the sound. I've never seen one in person, so it's super cool that Bell is really bringing the fleet this year.
They are. And now here's the other thing with this aircraft, and I think with what McDermott has done, is again, it's demonstrating the ingenuity in the helicopter industry. This aircraft was never meant to do what McDermott Aviation has done with this aircraft. And it is one of the most capable firefighting aircraft that's out there. But it's old technology, but what's old is new again. And look what they've done with it.
Hey, it's like bell bottoms. They're back, and the 214's back. Super cool. All right, we got the 407 inbound. Mike, how much do you love the 407? Because I love it.
Oh, I love the 407. Again, the sound, right?
It's the sound.
It's the distinctive sound. And actually what we have coming in right now is Air-Evac Life Flight. So big operator, air medical operator of the Bell 407.
Yeah, so fun fact, I actually used to work for AEL, Air Evac Life Team. Great company. One of the things that I loved about working at AEL was the culture. It was a culture that supported pilots. Mike, you've been in the industry for a really long time, and I think that you probably actually got to see some of the dark days of air medical. What are the big shifts that you have seen in air medical, specifically around safety and culture over, say, this last 25 years?
Well, actually, I would even say probably the last 10 years. 25 years, yeah, we've seen a shift when it comes to a safety culture. But certainly the last, 10, 5 years where we're seeing there's more emphasis on that safety culture, having the ability as a crew, that one crew person in the back can say no,
Yep.
they can stop that mission. So we've seen, it's been demonstrated many times in the air medical community. And let's face it, it did go through some dark days, but to see it today, I would say the air medical sector is probably the safest that it's ever been.
It really is, yeah, and it's a testament to these companies. GMR, the parent company of AEL, they're investing in new aircraft, they're investing in training, they're investing in recurrent training. When I worked at Air Evac, we were doing routinely inadvertent entry into IMC in the simulator, always practicing that. And look, they really put their money where their mouth is, and it's all about safety. So cool to see the AEL 407 GXI here at VAI #1. All right, second 130 coming in. Looks like a Papillon machine. Shout out to producer Zach. He actually used to fly for Papillon. probably one of the larger operators of the 130, at least in the United States. The 130 is such a great aircraft for tourism, forward-facing, stadium-style seating, great wraparound views, left and right. There's not really a bad seat. In fact, I think what I was told is that back in the day when they were making this helicopter, they went specifically to the tour operators and said, if you could build a helicopter,
Exactly.
what would it look like?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they done. So here is the perfect tour machine, and that's what they did. So the EC-130 and the H-130, that is the preferred helicopter as far as air tours are going.
Yeah, absolutely. From a pilot perspective, ton of fun to fly. This is actually the B4. Mike, let's see if you retain. How do you know that this is a B4?
So if I'm looking at the intake, this is more of a slanted
You
intake.
see what I'm talking about?
So now I can see it, that this is an EC-130 B4, so it's a little bit of the original version, I guess you could say.
Yeah, first variant has the Aerial 2B1, so not as powerful as the Aerial 2D1 in the T2, but still highly capable. The only time that I would really notice power when I was flying these was on a hot Vegas summer day. It flew fine, it was just a little bit slower. The 130 is an incredible machine, and hey, I would say for the tourism sector and others, we're lucky to have it.
Yeah, and you know, think of it from the tourism side, when you were flying this on a hot day, and that's a big windsock. So
it's a big old windsock. Get the giant vertical stabilizer on the back, and you know what else it is on a really hot day? It's a greenhouse. And I have to say, helicopters are good at a lot of things, keeping you cool, not all the time. The 130 actually did a pretty good job. However, a difference between the B4 and the T2 is the environmental control system.
Yeah.
So the T2 has a better environmental control system. You have more options. You can actually adjust the thermostat. However, both aircraft did pretty good.
yeah, fantastic aircraft.
All right, we have another UH-60 coming in. It's about to get loud and windy, but sounds like you have something to say about this particular machine.
Well, this is Ace Aero's aircraft that's coming in here, and Ace, right now, they got some big news happening here at the show. So Ace is going to be announcing that they're the authorized reseller of Blackhawks, so that's a first. And they're also going to be a service center for the Blackhawks as well, so they're making that news here at the show.
Man, big news. Mike Reyno is breaking it first. Let's see this thing land. One benefit of flying in a large helicopter is it's a great place to pack your booth. I can't say for certain. It's my bad, I'm in the way. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure like their booth is completely fit in the back of the helicopter there. So who needs a U-Haul when you got a UH-60? So we're not sure well, we know what's coming in. We know a 145's coming in, but we don't actually know if it's the Airbus demonstrator or if it's a company-owned ship, so I guess we're just gonna have to see. The 145, though, an incredible machine. In fact, a couple years ago, I did a demo at Atlanta at Heli Expo and had a great time. Helionics, really amazing avionics system. The 145 is a special machine.
And again, Airbus H145, it's the hottest selling light twin on the market. Like you look at the number of H145s that have been sold, it's incredible.
Yeah, in fact, Hillsborough Aviation in Oregon bought a 145. In fact, it was in the booth last year, and they were using it for firefighting this year, first of its kind doing that mission. So again, it's a utilitarian style aircraft. It can do whatever. What do we got?
So it looks like this is their demonstrator
Yep.
that they have.
I'm here with my new best buddy, Kent Stevens. I met Kent this morning, actually, and then it turns out you have a former relationship with my buddy Zach here. That sounded kind of weird, but you guys were friends at Papillon. You all flew together?
Well, we're very, very close at the South Rim.
Well, that's what I hear. Good times at the South Rim.
Absolutely.
So you're working double duty today. You flew the 130 in earlier, and now you're flying in the 145. I've only demoed the 145, but just tell me why this helicopter is so awesome.
Oh, goodness. The remarkable altitude performance, high, hot, and heavy performance, remarkable vibration characteristics with the newer 5-bladed rotor system. It's got fantastic OEI performance, and it's a crowd pleaser. I mean, the EMS crowd loves it because not only does it get started up really quickly, but it's a 30-second shutdown, which is amazing. That's what everybody really likes.
That's really nice.
Super great interior, very large on the interior, as well as a flat floor, which is another thing that really gets the EMS crowd. And then especially through some of the other ways that Airbus can configure things, the interiors can be absolutely amazing for the VIP customers, private business owners.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I can imagine.
Pilots.
Well, I'll be walking the show. I think Kent is actually doing way better because he's flying the 145 all week. Darn it! Thanks, Kent. Appreciate it. All right, guys, I feel like a meteorologist in a hurricane right now. We got another 139 landing behind us right now, and it's really windy.
The hair is just blowing.
My luscious locks.
Okay, the award for best dressed. Check out this 139 behind us.
Yeah, seriously. I love the camo. What a set down, too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you see the steps come down? Oh my gosh.
You know what? You may get the award for best approach.
I think that was the best approach and set down. And I didn't know this, but when the aircraft set down, automatically the little footsteps came out. That's a nice little trim feature.
And you know what? That's good for people like you that are short.
I think I'm taller. What do you think? All right, y'all. 139 just came in. I think that so far today, here, Joey, Captain Joe, I'm going to call you, he greased it. I mean, I'm telling you, the approach came down perfect. He came down, he set it on the two mains, and then just irked it down. Joey, where does the finesse come from, man?
The guy that taught me to fly was an old Vietnam guy, and it was all by feel. So anytime there was a bad landing, or anytime it was an approach that was too slow or wasn't right on the way down, he always gave me a hard time. So it was all about feel, and we have some tough critics that we fly back home. So we try to grease it in when we can.
Well, you absolutely nailed it. I love the paint job. Who came up with this scheme?
It was my idea. We had a 109 prior, and it was camo as well. And once we got the 139, there was no question how we were going to paint it. It turns heads, and it's always a showstopper.
Yeah, when you all landed, producer Zach here was like, now that's how you do the gray and white. And I got to say, it looks absolutely incredible. What are you guys primarily using the helicopter for?
VIP corporate up in the Northeast.
That's a good place for it. And now, did you fly it all the way down?
Flew it down yesterday, yeah.
How many hours?
It was about a 9-hour trip down yesterday.
Now, pretty comfortable, ergonomic, not bad for long ferry?
It's not too bad. Can't complain.
I mean, it's a helicopter, right? So at the end of the day, long ferries can get a little bit sore.
Any flight's a good flight, though.
That's true. Hey, Joey, thanks so much. So far, day one, Joey is taking the cake for the #1 landing. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Joey, congratulations.
Awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice to meet you.
Sun is getting a little bit heavier on the horizon, but that is not stopping helicopter fly-ins. Tell me that you don't love that sound right now.
Oh, there's nothing better than that, right?
I love it. The way he's approaching, too, it's kind of echoing off. So the 412 right now sounds extra awesome. So the general population sometimes I don't think understands the impact and the importance of helicopters. And I don't think we saw more of that on display than just this past couple months, specifically in LA with the fires. Mike, what is it like to see helicopters out there doing that mission and providing that crucial lifeline for those people?
So I think when you look at the LA fires, never before have we seen, I guess the public could see firsthand what the helicopters were doing. It was incredible to see everything from Bell 412s to UH-60s, S-70s,
Totally.
CH-47 Chinooks. So to be able to see the versatility of them going out on the fires. So behind us with the 412 EPX, we've got the Simplex fire attack tank, DART now, the acquired Simplex. But we got a tank there that's holding nearly 400 gallons of water. So that's a lot of water that you can put on a fire. And the thing with this tank as well is that, you know, they've got the ability where they can go in with that snorkel. They can go into water sources where it's maybe not deep, that they're able to access the water. The other thing with this tank as well is they can do multi-drop. So you're not dropping all your water at once, but you can actually phase out, you know, how much multi-dumps so you can do, or multi-drops, so what you can do with this aircraft. So again, because of the size of this aircraft, the versatility that comes with that tank is amazing.
Yeah, super cool. Just another example of the pivotal role that helicopters play, not just in our lives, but actually all of our lives. Whether you're in the United States, Canada, or any other country, helicopters play such a vital role, specifically with fires, but also for all the utility and everything. And I'm just feeling so lucky to be part of the industry because we do a lot of cool things.
Absolutely. If you go back to the early days when they first started firefighting from helicopters, they were using paper bags full of water. And now look how far we've come.
The advancements.
And the advancements are multifaceted, because you have companies where we've got the helicopter, but then you also have those that are developing the accessories,
Totally.
so those tanks, to allow them to do what they're doing.
All the tools. Helicopters are the best. We have our first Robinson arrival. Looks like it's an R66. Mike, this is a big show for Robinson. Lots of big things happening.
You know what? We've seen a lot of big things happening from Robinson over the past year. This show, we are going to see, again, some more big things that are being announced. I would say, actually, Robinson's might just be the talk of the show here. Now, we can't say what's happening, but we can say it's going to be big.
Yeah, so 3 announcements. It's actually happening this Sunday the 9th. I'm going to be there. We're actually going to be covering it, so we're really excited about that. David Smith officially took over last Expo, and ever since, Robinson is on a trajectory like no other. Have you seen any OEM have this kind of reshaping in your history?
No, I've never seen this, where it's transformed over the past 12 months, and now we're going to see they're really laying the roadmap of what the future for the company's going to be. So what we're going to see here at the show, we haven't seen this in a long time from Robinson.
Yeah. Clean sheet design. You think you know a Robinson? I don't think you do.
I think what we got coming in right now is pretty hot. It looks really hot.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you know something that I don't know.
I don't know. I might have something. Woo! So Teledyne Fleurs 429. Probably the most unique paint scheme you'll see on a 429.
Absolutely. Who's the operator?
Flair. Teledyne Flair. That's their aircraft.
It's Flair.
I wonder what camera system they have on the nose.
I'm gonna guess a Flair. Guys, you gotta tell us what you think in the comments about the paint job. I like the paint job. It's a little out there for helicopters, but I think I'm okay with that.
Well, they're going with what you would see on a Fleer image. That's what the light bulb went.
The more you know.
The more you know when we spend time together.
In my defense, it's 8 o'clock, 6:15. It's been a long day. I'm starting to lose it a little bit, but I gotta say I still love seeing the helicopters come in. This is 429 number 2. Now, let me just paint the picture real fast. I think what's happening is tomorrow the weather doesn't look very good. And so now they're trying to stack more arrivals today to make sure that they can get all the helicopters in and not have to really mess with it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Have you been to a show where like the weather's been a total no-go?
No, this is the first that I've seen. So what we're seeing, I think today they brought in 8 more helicopters than what was planned. But what's compounding this, if you look around and we go back and we talk about it's a confined area. So you're only bringing in 1 helicopter here at a time versus some of the other locations where they can bring in 1 helicopter's here and they're offset. So this is not helping the situation right now.
Yeah, so this spot is not only tighter, but just like Mike said, and you know what, I wasn't even thinking about that. Places like Anaheim and Atlanta, you can land 2, even sometimes 3 helicopters, really big aprons. So not the luxury. One luxury though is the proximity.
Yes.
So when we talk about Atlanta, that's like driving. You have to drive the helicopter essentially like a mile, it seems like, to get into. So at least Dallas has a close proximity of getting the aircraft in. But yeah, man, they're scrambling. We got to get these helicopters in. We got a show to do.
Tomorrow, 11 more helicopters coming in.
Love it.
Weather depending.
Mother Nature, come on.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Day one is a wrap, and I don't know about you, Mike, but I had a total blast today. As always, I feel like helicopter arrival day is one of my favorite days of the year, and I mean that in all sincerity. What are some of the highlights for you?
So I think probably the biggest highlight for me is because it's an aircraft that we really haven't seen much of. It's got to be the McDermott Aviation, the Bell 214 ST.
Super cool.
I mean, listening to that thing come in, I think it was probably 10 miles out when we started hearing that.
Yeah, and I know, and I thought it was right overhead, but no, it was way out there.
Yeah.
So cool to see different aircraft. I love connecting with all the pilots, chatting with them, interviewing them. So the cool thing about our industry is I may have never met someone before, but just instantly we can connect and we can talk about our shared passion of aviation, specifically helicopter aviation. Verticon fly-ins, day one, total wrap. Can't wait for day two. There's so much more to come. Yesterday was day one of helicopter fly-ins at Verticon. We had 24 aircraft arrive, and at day two, we are ready for the same action. We got 530s, we got 225s, we got S92s, we got Cabris, we got A-Stars, we got everything. I love fly-ins. Day two, Verticon. I can't wait to see all the helicopters stacked into the convention here in Dallas, Texas. Verticon 2025. All right, it's a tale of two stories today, or from yesterday at least, because the weather has dramatically changed. The temperature has gone down. How you doing, Mike?
It's a little chilly today.
It's definitely a little bit cold.
Yeah.
Mike actually a second ago had a toque on. That's what the Canadians call a beanie. You're not rocking the toque for right now?
No. I thought we would go with this look and make it look a little bit warmer today.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
we're cold. They're landing opposite direction. Day two, first helicopter inbound right now. I think it's an A-Star. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Services UH-60 is on short final. Mike, does that thing look like it's like fully ready to go to war?
Yeah, you look at the kit on this. When you have the mounts on the side of a Blackhawk, it just looks like it's a totally different looking helicopter.
It gives it a whole different appearance for sure.
Take a look at how this is coming in.
Yeah, so this thing is like fully equipped. This is going to be really fun to check out on the ground.
Yeah.
We even have dirt bikes.
We got.
Looks like we have guns. We got it all.
We got motorbike on the side. I mean, you really can't get much more on a Blackhawk.
All right, guys, here comes the hurricane.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to say that this wins as the most awesome helicopter that's coming into this show. When you just look what is on the side of this helicopter. Remember 2 years ago this came in and they had the motorbikes on the side.
Motorbikes.
Now they decided to up their game.
Man, they got the flare on the nose. Looks like they have some artillery. They got dirt bikes. This UH-60 is stacked to the house.
You know what this demonstrates? Again, Blackhawk.
Yeah.
Versatility.
We were talking about that yesterday. Do you think that the industry ever thought that the UH-60 coming out of the government would become so used, I guess, in our civilian world?
I don't think it was ever envisioned to see where the Blackhawk is today. So to see where they're at today with this aircraft, and again, look behind us. Look what an operator has done with this machine.
Yeah, and it just speaks to the innovation, right? So the aircraft is one thing, but all the appliances, all the STCs that go on, not just the UH-60, but all the aircraft that we're seeing here at Verticon is just showing the innovation of those creating those kits and things like that. It's so fun to see. I can't wait to get a close-up. Yesterday we had two AW139s, and today we have the 169. Mike, what can you tell us about the 169?
Well, you know what? The 169 is actually making some inroads in North America. We're seeing obviously air medical as being the #1 sector for that. We're seeing heli service in the Northeast where they're operating it.
Yeah.
But we also just saw 7 have gone into Canada with BCR ambulance. They're doing the air medical mission as well. So, you know, it's really its focus is that air medical community, but it still does have a utilitarian mission to it as well.
From a pilot perspective, that's an air medical job that I would love to land.
Yeah. So now here's a good example. Watch the approach that they're making coming in here.
So it's a big footprint. Helicopter is right above us here, and it's going to be doing a nearly vertical, steep approach into our spot. Pretty steep.
That's pretty steep that he's coming in.
Mother Nature is not cooperating. I just heard thunder. It's kind of like a grapple right now, so not quite a hail, not quite a rain. It's a little bit of mix. Here we are sacrificing life and limb for you guys. I could be struck by lightning at any second, but I'm here covering day 2 instead. Got the 169 behind me. Poor guys kind of chose not the great time, but hey, look, it's, again, mostly liquid, so that's good. But Mother Nature, hey, it's Dallas, Texas. We expect this in the spring. All right, the next arrival is some very big iron in the 225. Mike, I think we're about to get blown away here.
Yeah. So the final last 2 are going to be 2 big machines. We got the H225, and then after this is going to be the S92.
I love it. It's like when you go to a concert and you're waiting for your favorite song. They always play it at the end. Always at helicopter arrivals, they got the best helicopters coming in at the end, 225 and the S92. I was once told that the Subway $5 footlong was one of the best business decisions, and in the helicopter world, I think the acquisition of Air Center to buy all these 225s might go down as one of the best business decisions we've seen in our industry.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on that?
So it actually, Air Center almost reinvented themselves when they introduced the Airbus H225. I mean, they were operating Bell 407s, Bell 412s. They had contracts, government contracts, U.S. Navy contracts. With the introduction of this aircraft, an aircraft that was dedicated almost exclusively to the offshore sector, obviously search and rescue as well was a key sector for the 225, but to see it now in a utility environment. So we see Air Center is operating it in firefighting. We continue to see the government work. We're doing VertRep work with it. They're also doing SpaceX. So they're working with SpaceX and the recovery of crews on that. So Air Center has really taken the 225 and made it a true utility platform, something that was never really intended for the 225. So now to see that the 225 is now making a resurgence, but in the utility sector, not so much offshore. We are starting to see them coming back into the offshore sector a little bit, but it's that utility sector where we're seeing the 225 is really making a name for itself in North America and elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, Rod over at Air Center, man, he I guess maybe he had a crystal ball or something, but he really called it right with the 225. As Mike was saying, it's been such a utility player in so many different roles, in unexpected roles. Obviously a little bit of a weird history, but all remedied by Airbus. They went through all the proper steps to just make it to what it is today.
And we even see with the 225, but also its earlier predecessor, the AS332. We're seeing that obviously as being big in the firefighting community. We're seeing them up in Canada. There's a number of operators, Coldstream being one of the largest operators up in Canada of the AS332 of that. And now obviously we're starting to see these more down here. So yeah, it's the 225 in that it's making a name for itself, And now you're seeing Airbus, like they're really stepped up the support for these aircraft in that sector, which again, they did not anticipate.
Yeah, of course.
But because of the sector it's in, we're also seeing that the level of maintenance and support that's required for these aircraft is different than what we were seeing in the offshore sector.
Yeah, it's so cool. Love seeing the 225. Saving the best for last, 225, and yet to come is the S92. Can't wait. All right, I think I'm calling it the queen of the show, the S92. The Sikorsky is on short final. Mike, tell us about what we're seeing here.
So what we're seeing, Sikorsky S92, but what we're seeing is actually from VIH Aerospace. They've done some modifications to make this S92 into a utility helicopter. What we're going to see is a tank go on this Helitac tank, the S92 Fire Raptor. So I love the new name for this.
I love that.
So this has come down from Canada. VIH Aerospace did all the work on this. This is going to be showcased in the Sikorsky booth. And we're going to hear a lot of great news coming from Sikorsky on how they're trying to improve support on these S92s.
I love hearing that. What Mike was also talking about is over 1,300 gallons of water can be dropped from the S92. Yeah. Pretty incredible. Let's check it out. So a common theme so far we've been talking about is repurposing. The 225, the UH-60, and the S92 is no different. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So one of the things that you notice behind us is a dead giveaway that this has really been reconfigured for your utility mission. Is check out the vertical reference window that's on this. So this is STC from VIH Aerospace, sister company to VIH Helicopters. So last year in Canada, we saw the Sikorsky S92 put into the role of aerial firefighting for the first time ever. So we saw one machine where they put the Helitac tank on that, is carrying roughly 1,300 gallons of water, putting it on the fires, so known as the Fire Raptor. So it's a name that seems to be sticking.
I love the name. I love the name.
So what we're seeing is now we can use the S92 for not just firefighting, but again, that aerial lift, aerial construction. And VIH is well known for taking helicopters and then doing what we see behind us.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see these helicopters repurposed for other missions. I want a common theme to be continued on this channel and on my podcast is that helicopters play such a vital role. And when operators are innovative and then vendors are also innovative on the STCs and things like that, then they just have a secondary life, a resurgent, a retirement job, so to speak. And so it's super cool to see these helicopters still working today.
And I think one of the things that you just said is innovative. And that's one of the things that you see the level of innovation in the rotorcraft industry. It's amazing where you see, again, this helicopter was never intended to be an aerial firefighting helicopter. It was an offshore platform. We see them used with the Royal Canadian Air Force. We see that obviously with Marine One for the President of the United States. And now look what it's doing. So the level of innovation that we see never ceases to impress me.
Yeah, it's so cool. Love it. Well, I don't know about you, Mike, but I had so much fun at helicopter arrivals here at Verticon. What's a highlight for you, bud?
You know, it's been a great couple of days. Yesterday, the highlight would have to be, I would say, McDermott Aviation, the Bell 214 ST. Obviously, we finished off pretty big here with this Sikorsky S92 behind us. Before that was the Airbus H225. So, you know what? It's been an amazing couple of days. Not so nice today compared to what it was.
A little cold.
Yeah, a little cold than it was yesterday. But hey, you know what? It's we're kicking off. All these helicopters are now going to be in the show, and we're going to be opening up here on Tuesday.
The fun has not even started yet. We're so excited for the first official Verticon. And Mike, thank you so much for doing this. This has been so much fun. I've had a great time.
It's been great.